Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you the day after Arsenal made it back-to-back wins in the Premier League for the first time since the opening week of the season. 1-0 winners at Brighton last night. Obviously I did the usual video after the game, bit of a match review and player rating, so you may well have seen that already. If not, it's down there, so give it a watch if you want to. But I will talk about it in a little bit more detail today, just go over that game, what I liked, what Mikel Arteta had to say in his press conference afterwards. And there's a little bit of transfer stuff to come as well. Mikel Arteta was asked about Isco last night, and also the approach to the January transfer window, that sort of thing. So plenty to be covered today's video. Nice start to the week, isn't it? After a back-to-back win. It's been so long since we've picked up 6 points from 6, so it's suddenly beginning to look an awful lot nicer and calmer at Arsenal, now up to their heady heights of 13th. So clearly no need to celebrate yet in terms of the league table, but only 6 points off Chelsea and 6 points off the top 6. And so that shows what a mad season this has been when you consider Arsenal's results in the last couple of months and their performances. The fact they're only 6 points off the top 6 shows there's still plenty to play for this season, and hopefully with the momentum that's beginning to be built with these last couple of games and the last couple of performances as well, if Arsenal can go to West Brom on Saturday and get a win there, then suddenly the table's going to start looking an awful lot nicer as we head into 2021. Plenty to like about last night's performance. As I said in the video, the first half wasn't good enough, it was poor. Everyone accepted that. Mikel Arteta accepted that, and it was clear seeing it only had one shot in the entire game, in the entire first 45 minutes. Arsenal yesterday, and that was a Granit Xhaka free kick, so nothing from open play. It wasn't good enough, and Mikel Arteta accepted that. But second half was very, very good. I thought they came out straight away, so much more intense. Smith Rowe and Saka began to ran the show, and I thought in the end they were very, very deserving winners in the end. Sorry, I'm just trying to get something up on my computer down here, which I should have done before the game started. But I just wanted to ask about the second half, because I asked Mikel Arteta after the game. I was like, what did you say at half time? Considering the two performances were so different from the first half to the second half, and he said we had two issues in the first half. First of all, the balls that we gave away were simple balls in our own half when we were open and under no real pressure. That's absolutely the case. Mohamed Elneny did it a couple of times, played Arsenal into real trouble. So that's where they generated one or two half chances. The second one was the way we attacked against that block. We weren't efficient enough, we didn't have purpose, and we didn't have the right intentions for the players around the ball. The movement and situations we wanted to create, we talked about it, and straight away we were much better. And it was very apparent that they'd had a big old discussion at half time and sorted things out. By the way they started in the second half, they got the ball to the forwards a lot quicker. Smith Rowe was dropping off deep and playing some lovely little 1-2s with Bukayo Saka. They were turning, beating the press, and then they're away. And they could have scored before Lacazette did. Aubameyang had that chance that was saved when a brilliant break involving everyone, Martinelli, Smith Rowe and Saka, who crossed it to Aubameyang. And there were other chances as well. That one that Aubameyang tried to curl into the far corner, got the finish all wrong, but again it was brilliant play by Smith Rowe to set him up. And Arsenal just looked much better in the second half, and it was kind of similar to what we saw against Chelsea in that regard. And it's just an exciting, I mentioned it in my last video, I mentioned it in my pre-match piece on Goal yesterday, that just the blueprint for 2021 looks so much better when you have that, the fluidity in those players behind the central striker, whether it be Aubameyang, whether it be Lacazette. Just so I think those three players behind of Martinelli, Saka and Smith Rowe, it just gives you so much more movement and so much more options. And if you get the ball quickly to them, like Arsenal did in the second half, unlike they did in the first half, then they're going to cause any team problems with their movement and their quality. And ultimately, that's what led to Arsenal's goal. Saka getting the ball, turning his man, driving forward into the penalty area, setting up Lacazette, and it was a lovely finish from Lacazette, considering he'd only been on pitch 20-odd seconds. The touch was perfect, the finish was perfect, and that was enough to give Arsenal all 3 points. I thought they held on very, very well. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Pablo Mari. He's a player who, perhaps because he came in, wasn't too expensive or anything like that, there wasn't too much excitement about, and then he got injured. He almost became a bit of a forgotten man at Arsenal because he'd been out for so long and we hadn't really seen anything play. But he's obviously back in the side at the moment. Gabriel's injured and he's back in the side, and I thought he did very, very well again in the 2 games he's played. He looks a very good player, I think. He's very Mertesacker-esque in the way he reads the game. He obviously hasn't got rapid pace or anything like that, but so far he hasn't been exposed because of that, and he reads the game so well. He sees where the ball's going, he gets in the right positions. So a lot of the time he doesn't even have to make tackles because he's read it so well, and it's very encouraging what I've seen from Pablo Mari. And Rob Holding's been excellent as well in the last couple of games. I thought he was very, very good last night. Again, Rob Holding, there was a couple of nervy moments in the defence, one at the beginning of the second half, one at the end of the first half, sort of resulted in a little bit of pinball around the penalty area. But other than that, I thought they did very, very well. And it'll be interesting to see what Pablo Mari is like when he comes up against real top class forwards. I thought he coped pretty well against Chelsea with the likes of Werner and his pace. But it'll be interesting, if he comes up against really top quality forwards to see exactly what he's like. But I like what I see from him, and it will be interesting going forward in terms of, can that be a partnership? Obviously, they're two left-sided centre-backs. I mean, Gabriel and Pablo Mari. Is that something that Mikel Arteta may well look to try and work with, or is it going to be always going to be Holding on the right and you'd presume Gabriel? So, but Pablo Mari's certainly not done himself any harm with his performances, I think, and I think he stepped in really, really well in the last couple of games with Gabriel. So fair play to Pablo Mari and fair play to Rob Holding as well, who I thought was very, very good last night. Another player who deserves a shout on this video, who I wanted to talk a little bit about, Alexandre Lacazette. It's been a difficult season for Lacazette. And look, it's been a difficult season for everyone at Arsenal. There's been very rare. There's been only a handful of shining lights, Bukayo Saka being one of them. But I thought Lacazette, he came on, he scored his goal yesterday. I thought he was very good against Chelsea in the last game, scored in that one as well from the penalty spot. He's just stepping up when Arsenal need him at the moment. It's 3 goals in 3 games for Lacazette. It's 4 in 7, I think. And he's doing what he needs to do. And he's had a difficult season. He's had a lot of criticism to take. But fair play to him. I thought he was very good when he came on. I thought his goal was excellent. And I asked Mikel Arteta about Lacazette after the game, and how he's stepping up when his manager needs him. And he says, we need big players and senior players to step up in these difficult moments, and he's doing that for sure. Front players need their teammates to support them and put them in situations like he had today as often as possible. At the same time, they have to step up and create these opportunities themselves. I think Lacazette's been working really hard since I've been here. His work has never been an issue. His goal scoring record could improve, but it's improving because he's so willing to do it for us. And he's right, Mikel Arteta. Look, you give, as much as Lacazzette's taken a fair bit of flack this season, and he's missed a few chances, you give him decent chances during the game, he's going to score more often than not, and that's what he did last night. I thought his finish was very, very good. When you see it in slow motion, it was excellent. He didn't have much room to aim at, and the touch was perfect, the finish was good. It's about creating more and more chances for him, and if you do that, you're going to score goals. And the same with Aubameyang. I know Aubameyang's out of form a little bit at the moment, but those two players will score goals if you create chances, and Arsenal haven't been doing that enough this season. And hopefully now, with the way they're playing and the players they got behind them, especially with the introduction of Smith Rowe, that you're going to see more and more chances created. And if you do that, I'm utterly sure, like last night, you're going to see Lacazette or Aubameyang stick them away, and Arsenal are going to score a lot more goals in the second half of the season than they did in the first. Didn't play last night because he had a sore back. He didn't start because it must have been a difficult decision. It would have been a difficult decision if both players were fit and healthy in terms of Lacazette and Aubameyang, because I thought Lacazette played really well against Chelsea, and a lot of you were saying when the team news was announced last night, it was very harsh on Lacazette to miss out. But he did say, because I asked Mikel, why didn't start? He said yes, he had a sore back. Finished the game against Chelsea with some pain. We had the opportunity to refresh that and use him as well in other moments. We knew Aubameyang couldn't last for 90 minutes. We knew Gabby wasn't going to last for 90 minutes for sure, so we had the substitution, and someone at a goal threat like him believed was going to be needed. So that's why Lacazette didn't start, because he had a sore back, but he certainly came on and proved his worth. So fair play to him for that. Right, a little bit on transfers now, shall we? Isco, the man heavily linked with Arsenal. Short-term loan deal in January, talks believed to be underway. This is something I'm chasing up at the moment, but certainly Mark Mann-Bryan's at the Press Association, very good Arsenal reporter. If you don't follow him yet, find him on Twitter and give him a follow. Excellent Arsenal reporter. Wrote a story yesterday that Arsenal are very much interested in Isco, and the interest is genuine. Short-term loan option. It's always been one that makes sense. This one for me, Isco wants minutes. He's got the Euros at the end of the season, not really getting any starting time under Zidane at Real Madrid. Arsenal want a creative player who can come in and help fix the creativity problems struggling with this season. So it's always one that makes sense. And whether Arsenal can get this one done in January, we'll have to wait and see. Mikel Arteta was asked about him after the game, and he just did his usual. We cannot talk about individual players, as he always does when you ask about transfer targets. But yeah, it's one that ticks the boxes that could be done. I'm a little bit... My opinion on it is I suppose if it's a loan deal, I'm not too bothered. I don't want Arsenal signing Isco at the end of this. I don't want to give him a 28-year-old big money contract, which will probably be his last contract. It's just not the right age for me. I even think in January loan, I'm not too convinced about it. I think now that Smith Rowe's in the team, I think you should give Smith Rowe a real chance to impress right now. I'm not sure bringing in a loan player is going to help Smith Rowe at all. I know you say, well, it will help with the squad, but I'm not totally convinced by it. He's a big name. I'm sure it'll be an exciting signing for fans if it were to go through, but I do worry about what it will do to Smith Rowe, who I think has shown in the last 2 games that he's more than capable of making a big difference in the Premier League this season. And if you're looking to build over the next few years, do you really need Isco coming in for 6 months and halting the development of Smith Rowe, who's just broken into the team and getting his chance? I'm not sure. I'm sure plenty of you will disagree with me and think, yeah, we need to get him, but I'm not totally swung on the idea. But Mikel Arteta knows what he needs in his squad, and if a short-term deal for Isco is something that appeals to him, then Arsenal will try and do it. Believe that talks at a very early stage on this one, yeah. And there's reports in Spain saying his preference is to stay in Spain, potentially move to Sevilla on loan until the end of the season. But we'll have to wait and see if that can go through. But like I said, I'm not sure. You tell me what you think about it. Leave me a comment or about it and tell me what you think. Should Arsenal sign Isco on loan? Is that a good signing? Is that going to hamper Smith Rowe's progress? Let me know. It also does make sense if you've got Mesut Ozil already in the squad. You're already paying him. We all know what they're paying Mesut Ozil. Is Isco miles better than Mesut Ozil? Is he really? Surely instead of just bringing more wages onto the wage bill for 6 months, don't you just bring Ozil back into the squad and have him as the option as a playmaker as well as Smith Rowe, rather than bringing Isco in as well, because it doesn't look like Ozil's going to leave in January. So again, for me, it just doesn't really make too much sense. But hey, what am I? I'm just a humble football reporter and a fan. Mikel Arteta's a manager, Edu's a technical director, and if it's a deal that they think is worth doing, then they'll do it. So anyway, beginning to hot up ahead of the January transfer window. Mikel Arteta was asked if the last 2 victories might change the approach towards the January transfer window, and he said no, the last few results won't change our approach to the window. He's already said that the plans are set in stone for January. Arsenal have agreed what they want to try and do. Whether they can do it, we'll have to wait and see. But Mikel Arteta saying the decent performances and the decent results will not change Arsenal's approach to the January transfer window. And look, Arsenal's priority in this window will be a creative midfielder if they can get one, and that's where Isco potentially comes in and ticks all the boxes. So we'll have to wait and see. If I hear anything myself, I'll be straight on it. So please do follow, check out my social media channels across the board. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and obviously on here I will upload and do as much as I possibly can during the January transfer window. Although unfortunately I'm having a knee operation on January the 16th, and I'm supposed to be off for the final 2 weeks of January, which isn't ideal because I'm going to be limping around on pretty heavy duty painkillers. But I will still try and do as much as I possibly can to make sure I'm not totally out of the game during those final 2 weeks of the month. Just lastly for today's video, a little bit on Bukayo Saka. He obviously limped off yesterday, took a nasty whack towards the end of the game, but doesn't look too bad on Bukayo. Mikel Arteta saying afterwards he was limping, he took a strong challenge, but hopefully he will be okay. And I watched Saka leave the stadium last night, and he wasn't limping too badly at all, so it doesn't look like that's going to be anything particularly bad for Saka, and hopefully he will not be out of action for too long at all, and hopefully he'll be fit to play at the weekend when Arsenal travel to West Brom. Like I said earlier in this video, I'll be speaking to Mikel Arteta tomorrow morning ahead of that match at the Hawthorns. I can't believe they got spanked 5-0 by Leeds yesterday at home. It's like the worst possible result almost for Arsenal ahead of that game on Saturday, because you know exactly what Sam Allardyce is going to do now. He's going to be so determined that they don't ship a load of goals again, that he's just going to camp everyone behind the ball and frustrate the hell out of Arsenal. I can already see it now. It's going to be a horrible game. It's just one of those games you just want, again, like last night, just to get through, get a 1-0 win if you can, and get home back to London. And hopefully that's what Arsenal will manage to do. Thomas Partey is back training at the moment, stepping things up. I still have a feeling that game at West Brom might come too early for Thomas Partey. I think you're probably looking at the Newcastle game in the FA Cup the week after that for Partey's return, but he is getting very, very close now. Fingers crossed it all goes well and we will soon see Thomas Partey, because him coming back into the central midfield is going to make a huge difference to Arsenal. It really, really will. You sort of watched that game last night and just thought adding Partey in there in place of either El Neni or Xhaka, and Arsenal are absolutely totally different animal, especially with that front four now operating pretty well. Add Partey with his driving runs into the mix and suddenly Arsenal looking an awful lot more of an attacking threat. Right, that's it from me. Everyone, thank you very much for watching today's video. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow after the press conference to do another one reacting to what Mikel Arteta had to say and looking ahead a little bit more to that game at the Hawthorns on Saturday. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.